Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is gonna be episode number 1 of me just kind of keeping you guys more in the loop of my life, where I'm kind of at as just a human being, as a man, as a coach, as a bodybuilder, just kind of what I'm up to. And I haven't really made a video on this channel in a while, and I want to start being more consistent with this just because I find it fun. So I think one of the biggest lessons I want to kind of just talk to you about, lessons I've just kind of learned over the last several months in my bodybuilding journey, coaching journey, human journey, is you've got to have more hobbies to your life than just bodybuilding. I have been dedicating a lot more time lately to just really doing that deep inner work and discovering who I am and who I want to be. And one of my biggest goals outside of bodybuilding is I want to be a terrific, excellent father. And I don't want anyone else to teach my kids the basics of being a strong, independent person, whether that's a future boy, son, or a future daughter. I want to be the dad that can teach my kids the things like hunting, fishing, how to shoot a gun, martial arts, and how to defend yourself. Also bodybuilding things, but I want to learn all of those different skills too. And it took me a long time to realize just bodybuilding wasn't going to get me there to that kind of man I want to be. Bodybuilding is a great foundation for life, but it's just that, it's a foundation. You still have to kind of do your own work to build what it is you want to be. I also have really exploded in my faith over this last year and following God. And I think that is something that is becoming more and more kind of almost popular, which is good. And especially in America nowadays, where people are just kind of seeing more and more of the evil going on thanks to social media and just people around them getting into their faith as well. And it's been completely transformative to my life. And if you're someone that's maybe feeling kind of lost or something like that, I highly recommend just picking up a Bible and reading somewhere in Psalms or Proverbs, because there's just so much wisdom to be learned there. Even if you're not a believer of God, I think there's so much direction you can gain from just reading the Bible. And it gave me a lot of, I really struggled growing up a long time, feeling like a piece of me was missing. And my faith was definitely that missing piece. I tell a lot of people, your faith is the bridge between your mental and your physical. That is your spirit. The spirit is the bridge between those two things. And if you don't have those two things, it's really going to be hard to feel like you feel like a whole, complete person. And again, even if you're not maybe a Christian or a believer of God, whether that's you believe in the universe or whatever, that's just my truth. But you should still explore that spiritual side of your life if you haven't been doing that. And kind of add to that, that's why you need other hobbies too, of different things that just maybe fit your character. And I think that's honestly something where even AI could be kind of beneficial, is maybe just tell AI a little bit about yourself, ask your friends a bit about yourself, or tell your friends a bit about yourself and say, what are maybe other things I could potentially find interest in? And then try to dive into those things. And it's gonna take a lot of trial and error, but I got really into shooting firearms recently, and that is something that just gets me so fired up. I love to shoot firearms, and I never even really knew it was like a big passion of mine until recently, where I just started to do it consistently. I think a lot of people have more hobbies than they realize too. They just suck at them at first. That's me. A lot of people are naturals at a lot of things. That is not me. I honestly suck at a lot of the things I first start, and I just have to put in a ton of work to get good at it. But once I am good at it, I love it. That was bodybuilding for me, that was coaching for me, that's shooting firearms for me. For a long time, I really sucked at my aim with a handgun. And for a long time, I thought it's just me, or maybe it's just the handgun. And it not being efficient with a firearm was honestly a big hit to my confidence as a man, that I knew I couldn't handle a firearm very well. So that's something I've been putting a big focus on recently, was getting very proficient with my handgun, going to the range multiple times a week, putting in thousands of reps of dry fire, and meeting people that can teach me more about firearms to get me better at my aim, better in my technique, and doing those different things paired with also focusing on martial arts, researching more about fishing and hunting, those different things. It's brought me a whole new confidence as a man that bodybuilding could just never do for me. Bodybuilding won't teach you how to shoot a handgun. It won't teach you how to go fish. It won't teach you how to build a house. It won't teach you how to survive in the wilderness. You need to go do those things for yourself. And it's okay to take a step back from bodybuilding, or maybe just bodybuild not to the degree you were maybe previously, to focus on those areas. And I really think being able to do that made me a better bodybuilder. Because whenever I go to the range, maybe like on a rest day or even on a training day, and I do something that's a challenge, like recently I went into the range and just did 1,000 reps of dry fire where my handgun's here, put it on the target, click, rack the slide, click, like literally just that, 1,000 reps. It gets me so fired up because it's just a fun challenge. And then I can take that feeling of new confidence into my training, which is going to correlate into better training intensity. That is something I've learned recently as well, is you cannot buy self-respect, which, we all know that, but it's those little choices of your integral character, your godly character, being honest with everything, not telling any lie, including to yourself. Earning the respect of yourself is so important. That is like one of the most important traits or skills I've been really trying to focus on. Is I don't do this, whatever it is, to satisfy someone else. I do this until I am proud of the work I have put in. Until I've earned the respect of myself, that's when I get to decide I'm done with something. That is invaluable. You can't buy that. That's real confidence you can't get anywhere else. Same thing with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu I've been doing recently as well, of learning how to defend myself in hand-to-hand combat. Because you can't just focus on firearms because, hey, maybe you don't have a firearm on you, or I don't know, whatever situation, just being proficient in all those things. I want to also, like I said, teach my kids that in their future so that they can teach their kids and their kids. And I think one of the big definitions of a man too is how much he fears God, how much he's willing to take on responsibility, and how much responsibility he can handle while not crumbling and still being able to prioritize his own happiness, but also how much of an asset you are to society. I think that's a huge part of being a man or a woman, is how much of an asset can you be to society, and how much do people not have to worry about looking out for you. I think that's something really big. I want to be the person that people don't think about, like, oh, we got to look out for Tristan because he doesn't know how to handle anything except for how to pick up a barbell or a dumbbell. You know what I mean? I want people to come to me knowing, like, Tristan's very literate in the Bible. I should talk to him about my faith. Tristan's very proficient with a firearm. I should see if he wants to go to the range so maybe I can learn something from him. Like, I want to be that man that is kind of a jack of all trades, where I can just know and be good at a lot of different things. I think the whole master one thing is kind of overrated. Unless you are just absolutely called to be that one thing, there's, like, God is just giving you day and night signs to that one thing and that only thing. But if that's not the case for you, do not go your entire life without exploring any other area of your life. That is stupid. As much as I want to be a professional bodybuilder, I want to be a respectable man and father even more. And if I die without winning a pro card because I chose that, I don't care. That's so worth it to me. I want bodybuilding about becoming the best version of yourself more than it is about winning a card that says IFBB Pro on it. The journey of becoming the best version of myself is what the fun in bodybuilding is supposed to be all about. That's the essence of bodybuilding, is personal growth, leveling up in all areas of life, multifaceted excellence. And that's what I try to teach my athletes in my program, especially my husbands and fathers, not my husbands, gay, but the dudes I work with in my program. I also work with females too, and I work with them in their own way. But recently I've been working with a lot more like blue collar, veteran dads that are wanting to be stronger. And I'm teaching them these things about leaning more into their faith, leaning more into being that man that is leading by example for their wife. They're doing things that their wife wants. Like, You know the saying, happy wife, happy life. Doing those things like building her a garden. I had one of my athletes recently just build his wife a brand new garden in their yard. Different things like that. Teaching their kids different lessons about integrity, being honest, working hard, those kinds of things. I'm not just a coach that gives you training and nutrition programs. That's it. Go see you later. No, I want to focus on the overall development of the person. And that's why my athletes get results that they have, like, Chris or David or Tommy or Mario. All these guys, they're just hard workers, man, and they just need direction. That's who I love to work with, are the people that are just hard workers already. They have that in them, but they just need guidance in how they can focus that energy in the right places and not waste their time spinning their wheels on things that don't matter. Because that's the hard part in life, is the decisions you make. The hard part about life is not following it's not following a training program. It's not following a nutritional diet. It's not getting 8 hours of sleep. It's just knowing you're making the right decisions every single day that will get you to become the best version of yourself as fast as possible. That's really what matters at the end of the day. So if you're one of these men that want to take that step forward and have someone that gives you that guidance, then just shoot me a message, fill out an application in my Instagram bio, and I can see if we'd be a good fit to work together.